Kelli Vrla has over 30 years experience helping organizations attract, nurture, and delight their workforce and customers. She is founder of EngageUniversity.com. Kelli shows you ways to have a high ROI, which is return on interaction. Her topic today is based on her book, Ready, Set, Engage. Tap in, tune in, and turn on high productivity teams. I give you Kelli Vrla.
Thanks, Ed. Hi, welcome to ROI, Rockstar Return on Interaction. What that means is that you want your team members to not just survive, you want them to thrive. You've got some very important missions to do. It's been a really tough couple of years, the last couple of years, and we want to make sure that we get into some strategies that will show you how we can do that so you can have a boosted productivity and you can increase what we call a culture of accountability. So let's get started. I'd like to first share with you a great definition of engagement. Great work done well with others every day. 8 little words brought to us by the founder of the Engagement Network, David Zinger. Think about it. It doesn't say where the work is done. It does say, though, every day, which means not just Tuesdays and Thursdays, it means every day. How do we make sure we do that? So let me give you some strategies to do that and make sure that everyone is on the same page. First of all, let's talk about big idea number 1. Have a constant improvement mindset. It's a simple thing, but let's be honest. If you can measure it, you can manage it. So 3 little columns that really do a lot for you to keep your people engaged in a constant mindset of what's working, what needs work, and then an RX to fix it. The first column we always want to celebrate. We want to talk about anything, systems that might be working, communications, handoffs, meeting deadlines, beating deadlines, and we want to share that information with each other. The middle column, though, is something we want to accelerate. We realize there might be a gap. It needs a little bit of work. We want to share with each other. We want to prioritize those items, and we want to tackle them with the idea of having quick wins in mind. This way, we are boosting that engagement, but also that productivity that's going to come with what? Focus. And we'll have an RX to fix them. But remember, it could be shifting. We've had a lot of changes over the last couple of years. And sometimes when people are focused, it will cause them to come up with new and different solutions in the long run. All right. Now, another thing I wanted to talk with you about, big idea number 2, communication. Communicate with purpose. You realize everybody is in the middle of something when you interrupt them or when you're talking with them, when you're emailing and you're calling and you're just talking with them in the hallway sometimes. Here's the thing. We have never been so distracted in our lives, as Aiden was just talking about. We have never had so much data coming at us than ever before. So it's our mission to make sure that we clarify everything we're going to say. Get your message straight right before you begin to craft it. You want to think about, what do I want these people to know, do, or feel at the completion of the communication? Let me give you an example. Try to do it in 1 sentence, just as a test to know if you are really clear on your message. Example, you'll say, I'm calling to set up a meeting. Or how about, by the end of this meeting, the end of this hour, we're going to have at least 5 ideas on how to save money. See, that's specific, it's clear, and it helps them focus on productivity. Second thing, again, remember, we are distracted. In fact, many of you have left me come back about 3 times already in your head. It's you could say like you're here, but you're not all there. In other words, you're thinking, what am I going to have for lunch? You're thinking, when are we going to get out of here? Some of you are thinking, she looks a little bit like Demi Moore, but a whole lot more like Steven Seagal. But the point is, we've got to make sure to cut through the clutter and help people focus. We have a lot of messages going toward them, but let's make sure we give them what I call sticky content. In other words, it sticks with them. Let me give you an example. Simon Sinek, one of our thought leaders. Here's a quote by Simon: the quality of a leader cannot be judged by the answers he gives, but by the questions he asks. Well, that's a lot of words to keep in mind. Why not something simple like ask more, talk less, or even less is more? The idea is, well, we want you to stop talking and listen more, all right? It'll help in the long run. Big idea number 3, teach them to fish. Let them own the job? You know, the first thing I like to ask is, what does it mean to you to own the job? You know, to be honest, some of you, you know, people come up and they ask you a question and you're excited. It's almost like game show. It's like, oh, I know the answer to this one. It's like the easiest answer you have all day. The point is, though, if we train people to come and find us every time they have a question, we're just training them to be a GPS tracking system. We already have that. Our mission is to let them find out. I mean, you know the phrase, if you teach, or no, if you hand somebody a fish, he eats for the day, right? But if you teach him to fish, he sits in the boat and he drinks beer all day or something like that. But the point is, they're in the boat. They're figuring out the best places to fish and times to fish, and they're figuring out how to handle some of the problems that come up there. In fact, they're navigating things that come up along the way. They're in the boat. So make sure that when you're working with people, you resist the urge to grab that low-hanging fruit by answering the question. You push back when it's appropriate, when it's a really good learning moment. Think about that. So we've talked about a few things, but remember, your mission is to set that example. Now, as we roll through, I know some of you may be wondering whether or not my people actually are engaged or not. So we have a short session here, but I want to give you the opportunity to grab that list of 15 of the best indicators on whether or not they're totally engaged or they're beefing up their resume and they've got 1 foot out the door ready to check out. So just drop me a note at this QR code. And, you know, some of you may still be wondering whether or not I do look like Stephen, but I'll leave that up to you. But sticky content, I think so. So meanwhile, ways you can get in touch with me. If you have questions on leadership, change, mastery, I look forward to customizing a Rockstar ROI program for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kelli. Appreciate it.